everyone, it's Sam here from samsentiments.co.uk. Thanks for joining me again this week. This week I've made a little 5" by 5" square card using the Vivid Vases stamp. This is a single stamp, comes wood mounted, and across the bottom it says "You're a whole lot of wonderful." So this card, it can be used for different things. It can be used for a birthday or a thank you, or just really to tell somebody that they're wonderful, and that's not something that happens every day, is it? So anyway, I thought I'd show you how I made that, because I've used the new Stampin' Up! Blendability alcohol markers. So here goes. So first of all, you need a piece of smoky slate. I've used cardstock, which measures 10 inches by 5 inches, scored at 5 and then folded to make your card base. Then I've got a piece of cherry cobbler for the first layer, which measures 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then the top layer is a piece of Whisper White, which measures 4 1/2 by 4 1/2, and that's the piece that we're going to do the stamping on. So we'll put the other two aside for now and pop that down. Now with the blendabilities, you need to use the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, because that won't bleed with the alcohol markers. And so that I've got the stamp in the centre where I want it, I've been using my Stamp-A-Majig. You'll have seen last week that I used that on my last card. So first of all, I'm going to ink up the stamp. Because it's quite a large stamp, I usually take the ink to the stamp, and we'll just ink that up ready. I've already stamped it onto my Stamp-A-Majig, as you can see. So I'll line it up on my Whisper White cardstock where I want it to be, try and get it as straight and as in the centre as I possibly can. Pop my Stamp-A-Majig over my plastic sheet, remove that, I've got ink everywhere, and then stamp it down. Making sure you get everything stamped, and there we go. So there we have it, stamped. So now I'm going to colour the vases in the Cherry Cobbler blendabilities to match the Cherry Cobbler cardstock that we're going to be layering it on top of. Now the blendabilities come, these are the Cherry Cobbler, they're all the same colour, just slightly different shades of the same colour, and they come in a light, if you can see that, and a medium, and a dark. So I'll show you quickly how people do different things with these blendabilities. They have different methods. This is just my method. So I'm going to zoom you back in. Hopefully it won't get you out of focus. I always choose to take the light colour first and colour in the whole of the image with the light. Try not to go out of the edges. Now you'll see with the blendabilities, I'm not sure if you can see that on camera or not, but unlike using the felt pens that you probably used to use when you were a kid, you don't get the lines when you colour. So then you get the medium one, and if you imagine where the light source is coming, so I'm imagining that the light source is coming in from this direction, so therefore it's going to be all shadow on this side. So then we get the medium, and we'll just shade, do a bit of shading on this side, like so. And then the darker one, we'll do a little bit more shading on the side, but not so much, just on the far edge. And you come back in with the medium and go back over, you colour over the dark and back over into where your medium was at first. and then your light, and you just bring your light in and go over the whole thing again, which blends them all in together. And you'll see, like I was saying, you don't get the lines that you get with ordinary felt tip pens. This really blends well into a solid colour. So there you go. So I'll carry on now colouring the rest of these with the cherry cobbler. I'll play you a little bit of music and speed it up, and I'll be back in a second. So there you go, that's all the vases coloured in, and hopefully you can see the shading on that. There we go. So now to the flowers, and for the leaves, I've got the Old Olive Blendabilities, and because the leaves are so tiny, I don't tend to use all three shades. I'll leave the darkest one out and just use the light and the medium. So again, I go over the whole thing with the light, and then just touch in with the medium and go over with the light again. And the same for this one here. Barely even have to touch this one because it's so tiny. And there we go. Oops. And then for the rest of the flowers, I'm going to use the other colours that we've got. We've got Rich Razzleberry, the 3 shades of that. Wisteria Wonder, which I'm going to use for that one. Daffodil Delight for the daffodil. Calypso Coral, and Melon Mambo. So again, I'll just speed it up, play you a little bit of music, and I'll be back in a second. So there you go, that's it really, basically it. You can see how effective the blendabilities are. I hope you can see that without it going too blurred. How good they are at shading. You'll see that on the, I suppose that's a lilac, isn't it? I didn't really do any blending on there, I just got all 3 shades of the Wisteria Wonder and dotted it around, which has had pretty much the same effect. So all that's left to do now is to put the card together. So we'll get the base. Well, first of all, we'll get the layering piece, and we'll use some snail adhesive. That's one thing to note as well, is always have something protective underneath your paper or cardstock when using the blendabilities, because they do bleed through on the other side and can sometimes go onto your table. So we'll just use some snail to pop this on. Try and get an even border all the way around. It should be 1/8 of an inch. And then again, more snail. And pop this on the front of your card again with an even border all the way around. This should be also 1/4 of an inch. And that's it. That is a really quick and simple card. If you're anything like me and hark back to your childhood, wanting to get the colouring crayons out again, then it certainly feeds that fix for you. I've left the inside blank for you to write your own little message and tell the person just how wonderful they are. I hope you like that. You could always add, if you wanted to add extra, you could possibly put some ribbon on the bottom or a little bit of bling. But I quite like the simplicity of it, so I'm going to leave mine like that. Anyway, thanks for joining me. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Please also feel free to comment. If you hop on over to my blog, you will find a list of the products that I've used, and if you would like to buy the products and give this a go yourself, then you'll also find a link to my Stampin' Up shop, which is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you fancy giving Stampin' Up a go as a demonstrator, either a hobby demo, or if you fancy setting up your own business and doing workshops and parties and selling to other people, then also give me a call and you can more than welcome to come and join my team. So for now, thanks for joining me. Bye.